Kevin Costner, Hollywood's rugged icon, a man whose films have captured hearts for decades. Yet behind the fame, the stardom, and the accolades, there is a story most have never seen, a story of love, devotion, and heartbreak. For years, rumors swirled. For decades, questions lingered. And now, Kevin Costner is speaking. In tears, confessing something that shocks even those who have followed his life closely. Before the red carpets, before the Oscars, before the world knew the man whose presence commanded both screens and hearts, Kevin Costner lived a life quietly shaped by one extraordinary love. This wasn't a fleeting Hollywood fling or a tabloid headline. It was a bond forged in the innocence of youth, strengthened by time and tested by circumstance. The woman who captured Kevin's heart first met him long before the cameras ever rolled, long before fame made his name recognizable across continents. She was smart, grounded, and fearless in a way that matched Kevin's own quiet intensity, yet softened it with warmth and empathy. Friends and family remember seeing the young Costner's eyes light up whenever her name appeared in conversation, a rare vulnerability hiding beneath the actor's early confidence. They were inseparable in their formative years, sharing dreams, fears, and ambitions that seemed larger than the world around them. It was a love untainted by fame or expectation, one where gestures mattered more than appearances, and loyalty outweighed attention. Yet life has a way of testing the strongest bonds, and Kevin's path to Hollywood fame soon created a distance that no ordinary love could withstand. His rise to stardom was meteoric, from small roles in television to major film opportunities that promised both recognition and fortune. With each audition, each film, the world beckoned, and Kevin answered, chasing dreams, awards, and a career that would eventually define an era. But with that pursuit came sacrifices, and one of the most profound was the growing emotional distance from the woman who had once been the center of his universe. Letters became sporadic, phone calls grew brief, and moments together became rare and fleeting. Yet even as Hollywood life pulled him in 1,000 directions, Kevin's heart remained tethered to her, a constant reminder of what mattered most. Colleagues from early projects recall seeing Kevin distracted on set, lost in thought after a late-night call, or smiling wistfully at a memory shared only between him and her. Behind the charming, confident exterior was a man haunted by a love that never truly faded, a love he carried privately while publicly navigating the pressures of an unforgiving industry. It was this unspoken devotion that would later shape not only the roles he chose, but the intensity he brought to his performances. The deep, authentic emotions that audiences felt but could not always explain. And even as he dated others, as the media speculated and rumors swirled, Kevin's own reflections, now revealed in tearful interviews, show that his heart never fully left her. The world saw a Hollywood icon. She saw a man capable of profound loyalty, a man who loved in a way that few understand. According to close friends, Kevin often confided that no matter what films he starred in, or what accolades he received, the memory of her laughter, her presence, and their shared history remained the cornerstone of his emotional life. It was a love so enduring, so quietly fierce, that even the chaos of Hollywood could not erase it. And now, decades later, Kevin Costner sits before the cameras, raw and unguarded, finally revealing to the world what insiders have always known, that he only ever truly loved her, that every choice, every heartbreak, and every moment of joy was shadowed by the memory of the woman who once held his entire heart. As Kevin Costner's career skyrocketed, the life he had once shared with the woman he loved became increasingly distant, not because of lack of feeling, but because the world demanded more of him than any heart could bear alone. Hollywood, with its relentless pace, flashing cameras, and endless expectations, had a way of separating those who stayed grounded from those swept into its current. Kevin found himself navigating this world with the same integrity that had guided him through early life, yet he quickly learned that love and ambition often pull in opposite directions. Every red carpet, every film premiere, and every role he accepted carried the invisible weight of compromise. He was a man torn between devotion, To a woman who had shaped his emotional core and the unstoppable momentum of a career that seemed destined to make history. Friends close to him recount the evenings when, after long days on set, he would call her, longing for her voice, only to be reminded that distance and circumstance had grown walls neither could easily scale. The heartbreak was quiet, not publicized, yet it was profound, an ache that followed him into auditions, into scenes, and into moments when he was expected to project joy while feeling longing. Romantic relationships that followed her presence in his life were never substitutes. They were placeholders, reminders that no one could replace the bond that had defined him from the start. Kevin often reflected on this privately, admitting that fame did not bring fulfillment. It amplified the void left by lost connection. Industry insiders note that even during his peak moments, from starring in blockbuster hits to winning critical acclaim, he carried a subtle melancholy in interviews, a pause that suggested his heart remained elsewhere. In private, he wrestled with guilt. Could he have done more to keep their love intact? Could he have chosen differently, stayed closer, or resisted the demands of Hollywood? These were questions without clear answers, and they haunted him across decades. And yet it was this heartbreak that fueled his artistry, giving him the depth and authenticity that audiences now recognize in his performances. The emotions of love, loss, longing, and devotion were not acting. They were lived experiences pouring into every scene. Colleagues who worked with him during the 1980s and 1990s recall a quiet intensity, a subtle vulnerability, and a reflective presence that set him apart from peers who relied solely on charm or charisma. Behind the camera, Kevin often spoke of her, sometimes cryptically, sometimes with a tear threatening to escape, emphasizing that no matter the roles he played or the awards he earned, she had been the emotional anchor of his life. In interviews years later, he revealed the truth. He never stopped loving her. Every choice, every romantic involvement, every career move was shadowed by the understanding that his heart belonged elsewhere, even when life demanded otherwise. And while Hollywood gossip painted pictures of affairs, flings, and fleeting romances, the reality was far simpler and infinitely more painful. Kevin Costner loved one woman deeply, quietly, and completely, and losing proximity to her was a heartbreak that not even fame could heal. That tension between personal devotion and professional ambition became a defining feature of his life, shaping his choices, his performances, and the man audiences think they know today. It was a constant, invisible companion, a love both triumphant and tragic, driving him forward in his career yet leaving behind a trail of personal longing that he would only now, decades later, dare to admit publicly. The moment that changed everything, the tearful confession that shocked fans and Hollywood alike, didn't happen on a red carpet, in a movie set, or during a carefully scripted interview. It came quietly, intimately, during an emotional sit-down where Kevin Costner, a man celebrated for his stoicism and calm demeanor, finally allowed himself to be vulnerable in a way few had ever seen. Cameras rolled, but this was not performance. This was truth. Sitting across from the interviewer, his hands trembling slightly, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, he began to speak of a love that had shaped every part of his life. "I only loved her," he whispered, his voice cracking under the weight of decades spent concealing the depth of his devotion. And in that moment, the world realized that the Hollywood icon, the man who had played countless heroes, lovers, and adventurers, was also a man who had loved deeply, quietly, and unyieldingly, yet been forced to endure heartbreak in silence. Friends and family later confirmed that Kevin had rehearsed this confession countless times in his mind, yet no preparation could contain the rawness of the emotion that overtook him once the words left his lips. His voice, normally so steady and commanding, broke, revealing the vulnerability that had been hidden behind years of charm, confidence, and professional success. For the first time, fans could see that the epic roles he played, whether in sweeping romances, dramatic epics, or action-packed blockbusters, were informed by real, lived emotional experiences. The love he described wasn't a fleeting infatuation or a Hollywood tale of convenience. It was a profound, enduring attachment that had weathered time, distance, and the pressures of fame, and the pain he carried was palpable. He spoke of lost years, opportunities he had sacrificed to chase his career, and moments he wished he could reclaim to be closer to the woman who had shaped his heart. But the confession wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about authenticity, about finally being able to stand in front of the world and admit the truth without pretense or pride. Kevin's revelation was raw, intimate, and human. In that moment, fans across the globe could empathize, connecting not just with the star they admired, but with the man who loved fiercely, suffered quietly, and finally spoke his truth. Behind the scenes, those close to Kevin described the day of the confession as emotionally exhausting yet liberating. Crew members noted that he arrived visibly nervous, aware that revealing such personal feelings to millions could change the public's perception of him forever. Yet Kevin did not waver. Every pause, every sigh, every tear spoke volumes. He reflected on how fame had complicated love, how opportunities taken and missed were inseparable from his emotional journey, and how, despite everything, he never stopped loving her. The confession also prompted reactions across Hollywood, from former co-stars to longtime collaborators, many of whom expressed admiration for his courage. In an industry where personal revelations are often diluted for publicity, Kevin's transparency stood out. It was unpolished, genuine, and profoundly moving. It was a reminder that beneath the glamour, under the lights, and behind the fame, celebrities are human, capable of love, heartbreak, regret, and redemption. And for Kevin, this confession was more than a story to share. It was a catharsis, a way to honor the woman who had been central to his life, long before Hollywood ever took notice. In tears, he gave the world not just a glimpse into his private heart, but a lesson about devotion, courage, and the timeless, enduring power of love that refuses to fade, even when life takes you far from the person you were meant to cherish most. After the tearful confession, Kevin Costner's story shifted from revelation to reflection, a delicate balance of honoring the past while navigating the present. For decades, his career had been defined by cinematic triumphs, iconic roles, and public admiration. Yet it was the private, unspoken love for one woman that had truly shaped his emotional world. Following the confession, Kevin began speaking more openly about how that love had influenced not only his personal decisions, but also the characters he portrayed on screen. The quiet strength, the yearning, the devotion that audiences had always sensed but never fully understood. Friends close to him describe a man who, despite the weight of Hollywood and the inevitable heartaches that come with fame, now embraces life with a renewed sense of clarity. He cherishes relationships that matter, protects his emotional space fiercely, and chooses projects that resonate with his authentic self. The confession also sparked broader conversations among fans and the media about loyalty, enduring love, and the often unseen sacrifices behind celebrity life. Kevin's honesty reminded the world that even icons, legends, and movie stars grapple with the same complexities of the human heart as anyone else. Yet beyond reflection, there was growth. Kevin began using his platform to speak about vulnerability, encouraging others to be courageous in love, to acknowledge their emotions, and to prioritize what truly matters before the passage of time renders moments irreversible. He also maintained his signature humility, deflecting excessive praise and redirecting attention to the woman who had shaped his heart, acknowledging that fame and accolades were meaningless compared to the profound depth of a lifelong connection. Through interviews, public appearances, and private conversations, Kevin conveyed that loving deeply, even in the face of heartbreak, is not weakness, but strength, a testament to the human capacity for devotion, endurance, and emotional honesty. And while some might have expected resentment, bitterness, or regret, what emerged instead was gratitude for love experienced, lessons learned, and the ability to move forward without erasing the past. In embracing this, Kevin Costner offers a profound message to all who follow his journey, that life is measured not by the accolades received or the fame achieved, but by the authenticity with which we love, the courage to feel deeply, and the resilience to continue living fully, even when love challenges us in ways no one else can see. His story, now shared with the world, is more than a Hollywood confession. It is a universal reflection on the power of singular devotion, the endurance of the human heart, and the quiet beauty of a love that lasts a lifetime, even when life forces us apart. And in the quiet moments, away from the cameras and applause, Kevin continues to honor that love, living a life enriched by the past, present, and the timeless memory of the woman he only ever truly loved.